Elite Live, our third episode here. DMVSTREAM.COM broadcasts pro, amateur, college, high school, AAU, and youth games in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, live to televisions, computers, and mobile devices like iPads, iPhones, Androids, and more. You can find out more at DMVSTREAM.COM. Thanks, DMV Stream, again for having us. Today we're going to be talking to Princeton Day coach Van Whitfield, our special guest. But first, a few DMV Elite notes. If you're looking for a game to do today, something to get into today, Sunday, February 10th, there's two WCAC games on the schedule. Gonzaga is at Bishop Ireton at 3:30, and St. John's is at Bishop O'Connell also at 3:30. So if you're looking for a game to get into today, those are two good ones you might want to go check out. As far as DMV Elite, all the video from last week's Maryland Challenge is up. That was the event that was at Coolidge last Sunday. Princeton Day versus Coolidge, Milford Mill versus Theodore Roosevelt, and Spingarn versus St. Francis. All those games are up right now on DMVElite.com. You can check those out. We also have game story from O'Connell versus Gonzaga, video from Murray versus St. James. That's a game I was at on Friday. That game includes video interviews with Drake Goddard and Marlon Beck of Murray. We have video and player evaluations from Potomac versus Largo. That was done by Eric Larson. And Eric Larson also did Arundel versus North County on Friday, and he'll have his player evaluations and video up from that a little bit later today. As far as some DMV Elite notes, we have some DMV Elite West Future 100 camp for 5th through 8th grade boys on March 9th. That's going to be at St. Maria Goretti in Hagerstown. You can see more info on DMVElite.com. We really enjoyed doing the Future 100 camps. We had one last year in Bowie, and it went really well. Attracted a lot of guys out to that. Had tons of high school coaches come check on the kids. So this one we're looking forward to having two out there and kind of exploring a different area, getting some new kids to come out and showing the high school coaches a little bit more talent. We're also pleased to announce that we're going to be having two DMV Elite events in Richmond this year, thanks to a new partnership we have with the Foundation Basketball Group out of Richmond. We're going to have the Girls Memorial Day Challenge. That's going to be May 25th through 27th, and that's for 4th through 11th grade girls. It's an AAU tournament. And we're also going to have the DMV Elite Future 100 camp for boys, 6th through 8th grade, and that's going to be in August. So those are great, two big events that we're having. And we're looking forward to kind of expanding down the Richmond area and kind of giving some of those kids some of the same kind of treatment that we like and coverage that we like giving the guys up around this area. Also on DMVElite.com right now, we have a player profile with Loudoun Valley 2014 forward Paul Rowley. It's really interesting when I think you'll be able to, get some good info from that. He's a good kid, 6'7", he's got some three-point range. He's got offers from Mount St. Mary's in Quinnipiac. But he's also a great kid to talk to off the floor. Him and his dad started his own website, paulrowley.net, which kind of gives all the info coaches need to know about him, is on that site. You can check it out. He's a kid with a 4.4 GPA. I asked him how he did that. He's got tons of AP classes and A+, as he said. Got his first B in his life last semester, if you can believe that. That's crazy. But Paul Rowley, you can check that out on DMVElite.com. Okay. Well, now we're going to give Coach Van Whitfield of Princeton Day Academy a call. He's going to be our guest today. We're going to talk to him about Princeton Day as well as some Capital Beltway League stuff. As soon as we get him on. Hey, Coach Whitfield.
Yes.
Hey, Coach, you're on with me. Marcus from DMVElite.com.
Oh, good. Real pleasure to be on, Marcus.
Hey, thanks for joining us. I really do appreciate that. But we wanted to talk to you, first of all. Princeton Day, you've had a successful season so far. I know you had a lot of expectations coming in. Have you met the expectations so far, or do you feel like there's still, another level for your team to reach?
The way I look at it, I think that all of our programs, and we're so fortunate now to have so many good programs,
right.
But each of us kind of measure our success differently. And the standard for success at Princeton Day is not wins and losses on a basketball court. It really isn't. It is about what do we do with our seniors with respect to college, how prepared are they for when they have to make that transition to university life.
Right.
And our track record kind of speaks for itself that we've played so many young men and young women in the collegiate ranks who've gone on and experienced great success, probably more so off the court than on the court. We've certainly had our share of success on the court, but the young men and young women who graduated and become honor students at the collegiate level, that's our measure. So I feel like where we are with the seniors that we have this year, that they'll all be well positioned to go on to experience success next year in college. And that's really when we'll know whether this season has been a success or not.
Got you. Well, speaking of your seniors, I know, Akil Carr is committed to Seton Hall, hasn't signed yet, but he's committed to them. You've got Emmanuel Amagbo who's going to Robert Morris. A couple of your other seniors, Jerron Martin, Anton Waters. How are things looking for those guys?
Very good. Anton, his recruitment has picked up substantially over the last 2 to 3 week period. Same with Jerron. In fact, we played in Richmond, Virginia yesterday, and there were several college coaches who were interested in both of them, and both of them played quite well, I think. Anton maybe had 13 points and 15 rebounds, and Jerron had 24 points, maybe hit 3 or 4 three-pointers. And I think the transition for him has kind of allowed him to showcase his skill set and allow college coaches to see that here's a really tough combo guard who's capable of running an offense, who can play really good defense when called upon, who can distribute and who can hit and is an efficient three-point shooter.
Right. Yeah, how long do you think it took for him to kind of settle in and get comfortable with you guys? Because like you mentioned, he transferred in, during the season from Bishop McNamara, and he was immediately a starter for you. But when do you think it finally kind of started clicking for him?
Over the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
It really seemed that he understands. First of all, he comes in with a really high IQ, and you would have to credit what they did at his previous school to kind of get him to understand team play, understand how to play with other good players and within a system.
Right.
And so he came with all of that. But over the last 2 weeks, we've definitely seen where he understands and has accepted, this is my role, this is how I can make my team better, this is how I can make my teammates better.
Right.
So we've seen just an outstanding transition over the last 2 week period. He led us in scoring yesterday. I think he led us in scoring a couple of other times. We had a big game against South Shore, New York. Mm-hmm. And we should have won that game, and he hit the foul shots that put us ahead of point with 4 seconds left. Oh. And South Shore was just able to go and hit a big game winner at the buzzer. So.
Right. Okay. Well, speaking of South Shores, that just leads into the next question I was going to ask you, which is about your schedule. I mean, you guys have played some of the heavyweights. You played Oak Hill, you played Huntington. How did you go about setting this schedule up for this season?
Again, kind of going back to your first question, Marcus, our measure of success is how we get young men and young women prepared for college.
Right.
And you're not going to get them prepared to play at the highest level unless you're competing against the highest level regularly. Mm-hmm. And our goal this year, we understood before the season started, before Akil Carr ever showed up, that we had a special team. The key to success was providing the kind of opportunities for the maximum exposure. And in this case, it meant that we could go out, schedule these really tough teams. I was speaking with Coach Brown from National Christian on Friday, mm-hmm. And he said the real measure is not in playing these teams. It's the real measure comes when we can say that, hey, we were able to beat these teams, not just compete.
Right.
This year, it's all of what we do is kind of multi-tiered, and if the first tier is, okay, we can play them, we've been proving that over the years. We can get beat by 30 just like everyone else.
Right.
I think this year we proved that we can compete. We were on. I think everyone who attended the game against Huntington Prep, we should have won that game.
Right.
And I want to get away from that phrase for the sake of our program and for our young men who work so hard and work tirelessly. I want to get away from saying we should have won, and get to the point where we can say, hey, we won some of these games.
Right.
For us, a big win locally was Wilson, because Wilson came in. I think at the time they only had one loss. They were one of the kind of hotly discussed teams in the area. They had their way with us in Fall League twice. And we went in front of a packed house and really kind of displayed what we were capable of when we played together. And when we kind of had decided that we wanted to be one of the better teams in the area.
Right.
To get the win over Riverdale at huge event at Wise High School, again in front of a packed house. And it was a step in the right direction for our program. And we're relatively new in consideration of national. It's been around for years. And Riverdale Baptist, which is also in our conference, it's been around for years. We're the newcomer.
Right.
And I think people sometimes forget that. So the fact that we can compete and win from time to time against these high-quality, well-coached teams speaks to some level of success. But the biggest success is we've been able to, from day one, transition our young men and our young ladies to college.
Right. Okay. Well, one of the things, another thing I wanted to talk to you about today was the Capital Beltway League. This is the inaugural year for it. You're going to have your playoffs coming up here pretty soon. How have you felt about how the conference has kind of come together in its first year?
I don't know that I could be any prouder of being in this conference, of being one of the teams that will compete, I believe, for a championship when our tournament starts in a couple of weeks.
Right.
It is a talented conference. The coaching is outstanding. The young men are just the kind of highest level of student athletes. And when you consider that we are our first-year league, it's remarkable that, Riverdale Baptist played Huntington Prep so close.
Right.
And that we played them so close. That we beat Riverdale, that Riverdale beat us, that we beat National, that National beat us. If things hold up, we may be looking at a three-way tie for first place.
Right.
And at the end of the season, and I think it's remarkable. I'm so proud to be associated in any way, especially when you can say that I was there when this started. The teams that already want to join the league will just, kind of further bolster us, and they'll be good for those teams and good for the league as well. Very competitive. We played Riverdale at Riverdale a couple of weeks back, and there were over 1,000 people there.
Wow.
I don't know how many people have ever seen that setup, but we were shocked when we showed up and they had bleachers at the end of each court.
Right.
At the end of each baseline and court-side seats.
Right.
It was pretty impressive. And I think I actually took our kids out of the game. We were kind of shell-shocked because you're used to seeing that in the real high-quality leagues like the WCAC that make it that, on a nightly basis. But for us to pull an audience like that mid-season, and, thankfully, it was such a big boon for the league that we have a home game against Riverdale this Friday, so we're going to play it at Riverdale.
Okay.
Because they can accommodate that kind of crowd, and I think the fan interest was so high. The game started at 7, and it was sold out at 7 o'clock.
Wow.
You could not get back. You could not get in that gym. And I had just never seen that many people. It was really remarkable. And it gave us a snapshot of what our league could become. And you don't expect to see that in the first year.
Right. Definitely. Well, I know you guys, you're at 6 teams right now. I know that you've talked to some other schools about joining. Has there been any talk about how large you guys would like to make this?
I don't. I think that the one thing, and that's a great question, Marcus. I think the one thing that we have not done, and smartly so, is we've not set any limitations.
Right.
So we've not said, hey, it's only going to be X amount of teams and that's it. I think the approach has been that the sky's the limit here, so let's approach it in that way. Let's operate with integrity and in such a way that you could expand as much as we could and still keep a quality product on the floor where the games are competitive and where the teams and the schools that are in the league have a chance to grow. Definitely. And then receive more exposure. So I don't think that there's a concrete number. But I think as long as there are quality teams that are interested, we will be interested. Gotcha. I can't see why we would not.
Right. Okay, Coach. Well, thanks. I appreciate you joining me today. I'm really looking forward to covering you guys the rest of the season and the playoffs. And good luck to you.
We appreciate you, Marcus. We appreciate all the work the DMVElite does. Mike White, Chris. It's just you guys have really made a very strong imprint on the local scene of basketball and even education. And I don't know if it goes said enough how much you guys are appreciated and respected and even admired. So thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you, Coach. I do appreciate that, really. Okay. But we'll be in touch. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
All right, buddy. Take care. And much success with the show.
Thank you.
First time I saw it and heard it, I was like, I hope that I get the opportunity to be on one day. Oh. And so I'm so glad that you invited me on.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was Princeton Day Coach Van Whitfield on to talk about the Capital Beltway League, his team's success, his goals. Right now, we're going to bring my man Eric Larson in, our scouting director at DMVElite.com. We're going to talk some of the stuff that he's done, some of the stuff we have coming up, and touch on a few news and notes, some news and notes from around the area.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Hey, not much. We're on live. We just had Coach Van Whitfield from Princeton Day was on with me. We talked a little about the Capital Beltway League and his team and expectations and, this crazy schedule they had set up and all the teams they played. So wanted to bring you in just to talk a little about, some of the stuff we've had going on and also some news and notes from around the area. I guess we can get started with you. First of all, I know you did 2 games this week. You did Potomac-Largo and also North County versus Arundel. I guess we'll start with Potomac-Largo on Tuesday. Your news and notes are up on the site right now, DMVElite.com, as well as the video you did. What were some of your takeaways from that game?
I guess the biggest takeaway was, Potomac is really good. They have players at every position. They have really quality size, and when they're keyed in and focused on playing, they're very tough to beat. Largo really pushed them. Largo's another team, has really quality size. From their 3, 4, and 5 positions, they may be the most talented and athletic in the state. But they're, Potomac was really able to control the games from guard play. And when you had Dion Wiley and Randall Brody and Ramon Saunders and Chris Wynn, it's very tough to get over that hump. But Largo really showed a lot of fight. Potomac throughout the game had 8-12 point lead, but was never really able to separate from Largo. That's how the game ended up being a nail biter towards the end. Couple key guys for Largo was Connie Ikuara Jr. 13 points, but he's an energy guy. He's kind of a catalyst for them, getting them going. He rebounds, he defends, gets on the floor, does a little bit of everything. I was really excited to watch him play. I understand Washington Venice is looking at him. He's really a high D3 Division II type of player.
Right.
Never gonna. I don't think he'll really be a big time scorer, but he just does a lot of the little things.
Right.
And then Abdullah Bundu. He's 6'6", sophomore, super athletic, above the rim. He almost had double figures in blocks.
Oh, wow.
So he really almost put up a triple double. But yeah, he's another exciting player for Largo. You know, he spaced the basket, hit the short jump shot, everything around the rim he goes after. He's got some pretty good build already. I'm really looking at him as a low Division I prospect as of right now. Depending on how he develops, if he gets any taller, gets a little better with the ball, he might even be a mid-major type of player.
Okay, cool.
And one other guy from Potomac was that kind of caught my eye was Dejar Dixon, 6'7", junior. Really showed off well. I think he has Division I or high Division II potential. Really athletic. Had a really nice dunk over defender, and just really a hawk on the boards. Got a lot of rebounds.
Right. Okay. Well, another guy, obviously the big star from that team, the biggest name is Dion Wiley, and you tweeted something that I definitely agree with. That you mentioned that Dion is probably one of the most unselfish superstars around there is in the area. Just you talk about his game a little bit.
Yeah, well, Dion, I mean, he can shoot the ball from anywhere on the floor. I mean, you cross half court, you really have to keep your eye on him. He great ball handling. He can create his own shot, set up his teammates. One thing when I'm watching the game, it's almost like you want him to do a little bit more, but I think he understands for them as a team to really be as good as a team as they can be, and their team goals to reach those, that he doesn't have to be a selfish player.
Right.
He has talented people on the floor with him at all times. So I think his thing is to, really be a facilitator for these other guys on the team. That's a team with a lot of talent. I think they have 6 or 7 scholarship potential players, but definitely 7 guys who will play in college.
Right. Okay. And Friday, you went up to do some, Anne Arundel County action. You did North County and Arundel. I know it wasn't really a highly competitive game, but you were able to see some guys we hadn't been able to see this season. Who stood out to you in that one?
Well, we'll start with North County. They didn't really weren't really in the game, much of the game, but a couple guys really stood out. Corey Martin, he's one of the area's top scorers, averaging over 24 points a game. 6-foot shooting guard. His ability to create a little bit, create a lot, excuse me. He can shoot the ball from all over the floor, can catch and shoot, he can shoot off the dribble. He's often forced to take a lot of bad shots. He's the only guy who can really create and score for them, so it does kind of make him look bad, but when I look at him as being able to translate into another, low D1, high Division II type of player. I know Radford and a few of the Patriot League schools have already shown interest in him. Also, another young man for North County was Xavier McNeil. He's a point guard. He's a senior this year.
Okay.
Not really being recruited right now. Definitely want to put him on the list for the guy at school should start, Division III should start looking at.
Okay.
Be a nice reserve point guard, tough kid, good kid, can handle the ball. He's pretty steady with the ball. He can shoot the 3. He's very quick. But now Arundel, this is a team that, every year they're one of the class teams of Anne Arundel County. It has probably 6 or 7 guys who can play in college. Not like Potomac where you have, Division I, Division II. These guys are more along the lines of Division III players. A couple guys that stood out was Ryan Hill, 6'4", 6'5", big body post player, catch and finish, has great post positioning, can do a little bit with the ball in his hand, can face up, attack the basket, hit a short range jumper, gets to the free throw line, makes free throws. He's Division II, Division III type. I know Lynchburg, Eastern, Randolph, Goucher have all put a lot of work in recruiting him. Another young man is Austin Carroll, knockdown shooter. I think he had 4 threes in the first half of this game. Catch and shoot, uses the screens effectively, comes off of them ready to score, uses a shot fake to get to the rim. He's a really good player. Another kid that stood out was Aaron Lewis Canales, 6'1" athlete, but, you know, he won't be playing basketball in college. I actually headed to New Hampshire for football.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And one other guy who really played well was Keaton Mack. His point guard at Baltimore City Community College is really big on him. Looks like they're going to try to get that one done. He's a tough ball handler, really good defender, creates offense for his team, gets some setting offense. So a couple guys really stood out.
Okay, cool. Well, again, this is for those joining us, it's DMVElite Live. I'm Marcus Helton. I got my man Eric Larson on the phone, our scouting director from DMVElite.com. Also wanted to run through some notes here from the area, some things that have happened in the past week. Yesterday came out Reggie Williams resigns as the head coach at Archbishop Carroll, and he cited a lack of support from the administration and some issues with parents. You can read all about that in the Washington Post today. See what is going on. My man, Ty Elliott from Cesar Chavez, 2013 guard, scored his 1,000th point this week against National Christian. So congrats to him on that. And he also picked up some D2 offers from Washington Adventist and West Virginia Wesleyan. Some other news and notes here in the area. Theodore Roosevelt improved to 20-0 by beating Riverdale Baptist on Thursday. Both teams were missing some kids, but it still went down the wire and was a good game. And for Roosevelt, it's just another big non-conference win for them. They've beaten Montrose Christian, Princeton Day, West Charlotte, Milford Mill, Good Counsel, Lake Clifton. I mean, Coach Rob Nickens really put together a tough non-conference schedule for them, and they've really answered the bell. Their next big non-conference test is Saturday at Northwestern High School. They play Dunbar from Baltimore, and that's part of the Presidential Hoop Fest, which is at Northwestern High School this year. It was at Wise in the past. This year it's at Northwestern. That's going to be a next big game for them. St. James's Obi Anecchionia picked up an offer from Seton Hall this week. He also has offers from Indiana, Maryland, Virginia, Villanova, West Virginia, Illinois, Miami, and VCU, and that's just a few of them. I was able to see Obi on Friday against Murray. It was a tough game for them, and they lost it, but, you know, he looked good. Eric, I mean, you've been able to see Obi a couple times, mainly on the AAU circuit, but what are your thoughts on him and this list of offers he's got so far?
When you look at him and the type of player he is, he's a 6'9", athletic. He can play in the paint, but I think his destiny is really to be on the wing in college or facing up from the high post and whatnot. In high school right now, he's sort of relegated to the paint because of his size, but which kind of holds him back. But in AAU, when he's really able to face the basket and play from that, you can see his ability to shoot the ball, put it on the floor, get to the rim, defend on the perimeter.
Right. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, you're here. You're good.
Okay. The reason why you might look at his statistics or his game in high school and you're like, well, I don't really get what he's doing. You got to see him when he's playing with, players, playing with enough guys of his size so he can play his correct position, because that's what these colleges are seeing. They're looking at what he will develop into at their level, and they see him, I think, as more of a wing or face-up forward.
Right, exactly. They're kind of projecting to what he's going to be able to do.
Correct.
Right. Some other news and notes. Mount Zion's Rodney Hawkins. He's a 2012 Lake Clifton graduate. He committed to D1 St. Peter's up in New Jersey. He's the new Mount Zion program's second D1 commitment, joining Charles Taylor from Springbrook, who's headed to UMBC. So congrats to Rodney on that, and congrats to Mount Zion for sending another kid off to college now. Murray clinched the MAC regular season championship this week, so congrats to them. The inaugural Capital Beltway League championship game has been moved back. It was going to be on February 25th, but they wanted to move it back so it wouldn't conflict with the WCAC title game. So now each one of those is going to get their own date and their own stage, which is great. So now it's going to be on the 26th. The playoffs for the Capital Beltway League are going to be February 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and now 26th. And all those games are going to be at Riverdale Baptist. To run through the schedule real quick, tomorrow, February 11th, Riverdale Baptist is at National Christian. Friendship is at Princeton Day. Thomas Stone is at Westlake. Tuesday is a pretty busy day. St. James is at Flint Hill. St. John's is at Gonzaga, which should be a good one. Ireton's at McNamara. Bowie is at Eleanor Roosevelt. And I know, Eleanor Roosevelt probably really wants to avenge the loss they had to Bowie earlier this year in overtime. Central is at Douglas. Coolidge is at Theodore Roosevelt. O'Connell's at DeMatha. And Paint Branch is at Magruder. On Wednesday, Montrose is playing Cesar Chavez. Heritage Christian's at Princeton Day. It's a pretty light day on Wednesday. Thursday is a little bit heavier than usual. Coolidge is at Wilson. Athelton's at Oakland Mills. We talked on Oakland Mills in a previous episode. They're still unbeaten. Bladensburg is at Bowie. Gwynn Park is at Friendly. I saw the first of those matchups over at Gwynn Park. Friendly took that one. So the second one should be pretty good as well. Murray is at Potomac School. And let me see. Oh, Parkdale at Eleanor Roosevelt. That should be a good one too. Friday, we got St. John's at Paul VI. Riverdale Baptist it's at Princeton Day, but they're going to have it at Riverdale. We talked to Coach Van Whitfield about that earlier when he was on. So that's going to be Princeton Day at Riverdale Baptist on Friday. Potomac is at Central. A couple of big Montgomery County games. Churchill is at Watkins Mill. And Magruder's at Sherwood. And DeMatha plays McNamara on Friday as well. And McNamara stunned DeMatha in the first time they met over at Showplace Arena. So I'm sure DeMatha will be out to get revenge for that loss. Saturday, February 16th, there's an event going on at Northwestern. I kind of mentioned it. It's a presidential hoop fest at Northwestern. Montrose versus Friendship. Princeton Day versus Benedictine from Richmond. Riverdale Baptist versus Miller School from Virginia. And Theodore Roosevelt versus Dunbar. Sunday, there's two events. The MTB Mid-Season Showcase at Wilson. And there's two big WCAC games as well. Paul VI is at DeMatha. And O'Connell versus Gonzaga Part 2 back at American University. That's also this Sunday. Eric, any of those games jumping out to you?
There's a lot of games.
It's a whole lot of stuff.
Probably from the snow days, but
yeah.
I got to look into it a little more. I don't know where I'm going to be getting out to, but you know me, I love those PG County matchups.
Yeah, definitely. There's going to be a couple of them. Like I said, I know Roosevelt's going to be fired up after they lost that game to Bowie. They're going to come out ready to play.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's been episode 3 of DMVElite Live. Thanks to with Marcus Helton. Thanks to Coach Van Whitfield for joining us. Thanks to my man Eric Larson for joining us. Thanks to DMVSTREAM.COM for having us on again. And we'll see you guys again next week.